KCMO Talk Radio is backing the Blue. Tour stop number 10 is live from North Kansas City. It's Mundo in the Morning.
It is great to be up at the North Kansas City Police Department this morning, and we kick off our conversations with their chief, Kevin Freeman, joining us. Chief, good morning. How many years now on the job for you?
Hey, good morning, Pete. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate all the support you provide to law enforcement around the region. So I've been on the job here in North Kansas City since 1997, so on my 29th year.
Wow. So what's the biggest change you've seen up here in North Kansas City and just, with the surrounding Northland communities in general?
I think for us, it used to be like you would roll the sidewalks up at night here in North Kansas City, and there wasn't much going on after 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. But the dining and entertainment, the stuff that's been coming in over the last 15 years has just been an incredible change for our community.
So let's talk about the fact that we're sitting here at the near 3-year anniversary of the loss of Officer Vasquez, who, of course, has a memorial right outside of the room that we're broadcasting from here. Take us through what the memorial is intended to do, what it's about, and the plans for it going forward.
Sure. So, unfortunately, in July 19, 2022, we lost Officer Vasquez, shot in the line of duty here in North Kansas City, first ever law enforcement officer killed in the line of duty for North Kansas City. The community showed us a tremendous amount of support during that time frame and continues to still do so. One of those things that came up during that was one of our local architects, WSKF, offered to provide design services for a memorial should we decide we wanted to do one. Once we got through a lot of the initial stuff that we had to take care of, we went back and talked with Rick Huell over at WSKF and started the design process, and then it became not something that we wanted just strictly to memorialize Officer Vasquez, but to memorialize any public safety person in North Kansas City that lost their life for the citizens of North Kansas City. That includes Officer Vasquez. That includes now 3 firefighters that have lost their lives fighting for North Kansas City. So we created a larger public safety memorial, and that's what you see going up in our parking lot. We expect conclusion of that build to be hopefully sometime in July and have a dedication for it then.
That's it's powerful, and you see Officer Vasquez's face when you walk in here to the department headquarters. When we think back to that time and the fact that it was a routine traffic stop, what do people need to remember about just traffic stops in general when they get pulled over and they think, oh, gosh, here we go again. This guy's going to be busting my chops. But Officer Vasquez's shooting was a reminder that there really is no such thing as a routine traffic stop, right?
That's correct. We never know what we're walking up on when we pull somebody over for a routine traffic violation. We don't know where that person's mindset is. We don't know what's in the vehicle. So we have to take a precaution that we assume that everybody is armed and we assume that everybody is out to harm us. We know that's not the case. We know 99.9% of the interactions that we have with the public are safe and nonviolent, and many times they're just very non-confrontational. But you have to have that mindset and you have to prepare for the worst.
What was it and what has it been like leading this department through the last 3 years in the wake of this department losing its first ever officer in the line of duty?
Yeah, it's been challenging, but this department is tight knit. We have I wouldn't say family, but we are a very tight knit department. We're there for each other, and that is how that we lean on each other. So it's been easy to lead when you have a department that leans on each other for success. How
about the support that you've received from area law enforcement over the last 3 years? What has that been like for you?
It was phenomenal. I tell the story, like when you're going through something like that in the moment, you realize who your friends are, and there were people with me during that initial response and time frame. Other leaders in law enforcement in this area some are still working, some are retired now, but they were thinking for me when it was difficult for me to think.
That's a good way to put it. We're here with Chief Freeman of the North KC Police Department. We are on our 10th Back the Blue tour stop that we started about 2.5 years ago. So you take over this chief job in January of 2020. You get COVID. You get the anti-police movement that swept the country. that is not what you signed up for in January of 2020. So when you think back to the last few years and what you've been through, and then, of course, the loss of Officer Vasquez, what has been the biggest challenge for you navigating all of this?
That was it. You're right. It wasn't what I signed up for. It wasn't what I was expecting when I took the job. It was a roller coaster there for a little bit. Things have obviously calmed down since then, more of the status quo now. But I think we're facing one of the challenges that all police departments around the country are facing right now, and that's trying to attract and retain high quality talent that want to do this job. People just don't look to, it's not just policing, it's public service in general. People aren't looking to public service jobs when they're looking for what their next career move is going to be. So we face the same challenge that everybody else does in trying to find good people that want to police, and good people that want to police in North Kansas City know what the difference between policing in North Kansas City is versus policing in Kansas City or Kansas City, Kansas, or Overland Park, or in an insert city here.
So that's such a common theme, and that's where I think 2020 really set back recruiting and policing potentially upwards of a generation, because everyone's struggling. So now you have a lot of departments that are increasing their salaries, but they're just picking off somebody else who's at it. So that leaves that department short. I'm not saying that's wrong, but the bigger picture is societally, we're not developing people who want to get into this line of work, and it's hurting everybody, no matter how safe or how dangerous your community is. Is that your read on it?
Absolutely. Yeah, and it started before 2020. I think we can even go back in our community and go back to the Ferguson situation with Michael Brown and that what happened there. That was the start. That's when I started seeing the start of some disconnect with the anti-police movement and younger generations. And at that time, we started to make some real efforts to start going into our high school here in North Kansas City and start just having conversations, real conversations. Let the students ask anything and everything that they wanted to know about what it is to be a police officer. Why do we like donuts? Whatever the questions are. They came fast and furious, and some were really odd and some were very on point too. But trying to start having those conversations to make people understand, like, yeah, we have a job. This is our job, but we're also people. We're also human beings also.
Is that something that you've noticed has returned some kind of net positive for you? Have you been continuing to do that in recent years?
Obviously, everything kind of took a break during COVID when we can't get in and do those type of things. So we're in a reset mode for that right now, just as well. But the net positive, I hope at some point, somewhere down the line after we started it, I'm going to have somebody that puts in an application and said, "Hey, I remember talking to you in my junior year in high school, and you really made an impact on me, and this is what I wanted to do."
Mm-hmm. Kevin Freeman is here, police chief for North Kansas City. So what about the idea of potentially being the police chief in a town that could have a, dare I say, Major League Baseball team in a couple of years? I don't know. I just keep hearing the rumors, as do you. What does that look like for you potentially? Just another thing to add on your plate, right?
Yeah, it's going to be it will be a challenge if that occurs. I think like everybody, and I'm sure all your listeners, just like me, is like, we just want to know.
Yeah,
we want to know what's going to happen. Obviously, the teams are businesses, and we understand that, and they're trying to make the best business decision. But yeah, the impacts on law enforcement will be a big challenge for us. It's something that honestly that I would look forward to. I like challenges, and then we'll just see how we can do it. I mean, we have a safe community here. We want to make sure we continue to have a safe community. So whatever were to happen in the area that they're predicting the ballpark to go, if it were to go here, we want to make sure it doesn't adversely affect our citizens too.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to areas of the department that you've had to change, what has been the biggest difference in policing from when you started in the late 90s to today? What is that part of the job looked like for you here as you've been the chief now for 5.5 years?
I think accountability in law in the overall criminal justice system has changed. It used to be easier to hold people accountable for the crimes that they're committing. That's harder now. Jail space has some to do with that. Mm-hmm. Societal norms have something to do with that. But we really haven't changed there. We want to catch the bad actors doing bad things, and we want to hold them accountable, and we want to hold them accountable to the highest degree that we can.
And on your end, you got body cameras up here?
We do.
Okay. How long you had those?
Gosh, we've had those probably at least 10 years
Oh,
now.
so you were more or less ahead of the curve. Not ahead of the curve, but you certainly weren't late to the party on those.
Correct.
Which has got to be a no-brainer. I mean, what cop wants to work without body cameras in today's environment, right?
Right, yeah. So my predecessor, Steve Beamer, so I've been chief now 5 years. He was chief about 7 years. So that was one of the first things that he wanted to do when he became chief was make sure that we had good body camera program. So it may be closer to 12 years now.
Wow. That's great. Well, Chief, I know you're going to be back with us here next hour with a fellow guest as well. So we're looking forward to having you back, and thank you for allowing us to do the show from here. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here.
You bet. Kevin Freeman, he is the police chief for North Kansas City. We are at our Back the Blue tour stop number 10 over the last 2.5 years. We will get to the 6 at 6, top 6 stories in the 6 o'clock hour coming up on 95.7 FM KCMO.